The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Marcus Chen shuffled forward, his worn sneakers squeaking against the crystalline floor. The assembled representatives from 47 star systems watched with expressions ranging from amusement to outright disdain. The human delegation had sent this as their champion? Marcus adjusted his thick glasses and wiped his sweaty palms on his faded jeans. At 23, he was gangly, pale from too many hours hunched over computer screens, and possessed the social skills of a particularly anxious hermit crab. Even among humans, he was considered the weakest link, brilliant in mathematics and theoretical physics, perhaps, but utterly useless in any practical sense. "Behold," sneered Zextar, the Vorthan representative, his forearms gesturing dramatically at Marcus. "Humanity's greatest warrior. I've seen more intimidating specimens in a petri dish." The chamber erupted in chittering laughter, clicks, and harmonic vibrations that served as mirth among the various species. Marcus's face reddened, but he said nothing. He'd heard worse in Earth's high school cafeterias. Supreme Arbiter Kylthesis raised her serpentine hand for silence. "The trial of Apex is sacred," she intoned, her voice resonating through bioacoustic amplifiers. "Each species must send their finest to face the crucible. The winner's civilization gains protected status and access to the Transcendence archives. The loser," she paused meaningfully, "becomes a client species for 1,000 cycles." Marcus had read about the trial obsessively for weeks. 47 civilizations had participated over the millennia. 46 had failed. Only the ancient precursors had ever succeeded, and they had vanished eons ago, leaving behind only the automated crucible as testament to their greatness. The other champions were magnificent specimens. There was Gorthmak, a cybernetically enhanced Killian warrior whose exoskeleton could deflect plasma cannons. Zephyria the Etherean floated nearby, her energy-based form crackling with psychic power that could shatter mountains with thought alone. Thex the Crystalline hummed at frequencies that could restructure matter at the molecular level. And then there was Marcus, who got winded walking upstairs. "The crucible awaits," announced Kylthesis. "May the strongest mind prevail." The champions were transported to the crucible, a pocket dimension containing what appeared to be an endless white void. In the center sat a simple cube, no larger than a Rubik's cube, made of some impossible material that seemed to absorb light while simultaneously glowing. "The Apex Puzzle," whispered Gorthmak, his translator making his reverent tone sound mechanical. "Legend says it contains the fundamental equation of existence itself." One by one, the champions approached. Gorthmak tried brute force, his enhanced strength focusing entirely on manipulating the cube's facets. Nothing. Zephyria attempted to probe it psychically, her ethereal form blazing with mental energy. The cube remained inert. Thex sang resonant, frequencies that should have unlocked any crystalline matrix. Still nothing. For hours, the greatest champions of their species tried everything: technology, psychic power, elemental manipulation, quantum field adjustments, even attempted time dilation. The cube sat mockingly unchanged. Finally, only Marcus remained. The others watched as he sat cross-legged before the cube, his posture terrible, breathing slightly labored from the stress. He didn't try to grab it or scan it or manipulate it. He simply looked. "What are you doing, human?" demanded Gorthmak. "Time grows short." Marcus didn't answer immediately. His mind, trained through years of being overlooked and underestimated, had developed a particular skill, seeing what others missed. While the champions had focused on the cube's mystique, its legendary status, its supposed complexity, Marcus saw something else entirely. The cube wasn't a puzzle to be solved through force or power or even intelligence in the traditional sense. It was a test of perspective. The precursors hadn't been the strongest or most psychically gifted species. They'd been the most humble. Marcus reached out with trembling fingers and simply asked, "Please." He whispered to the cube, "I'm not strong or special. I'm just someone who wants to understand." The cube pulsed once, twice, then unfolded like a blooming flower, Inside lay not complex equations or cosmic secrets, but something far simpler and more profound. A mirror showing not physical reflection, but potential. Marcus saw himself, not as the weakest human, but as someone who had never let his limitations stop him from trying to understand the universe. The crucible exploded with light, and when it faded, Marcus stood in the center of a complex holographic display showing the fundamental forces that bound reality together, not to be conquered or controlled, but to be appreciated and understood. Impossible, breathed Zephyria. But it wasn't impossible, it was quintessentially human. In a galaxy full of species that had mastered technology, psychic power, and physical perfection, humanity had mastered something else entirely: the acknowledgement of limitation coupled with the refusal to be limited by it. When Marcus returned to the council chamber, he was no longer the stammering young man who had entered. He carried himself differently, not with arrogance or newfound power, but with the quiet confidence of someone who had finally understood his place in the universe. "The trial is complete," announced Kylthesis, her voice filled with something that might have been awe. "The human designated Marcus Chen has achieved apex status. Humanity is granted full protection and access to the Transcendence archives." As the representatives filed out, many shot curious glances at Marcus. Word would spread quickly through the galaxy. The species everyone had dismissed as young and weak had produced an apex, and their champion wasn't even their strongest warrior. Marcus just smiled quietly and adjusted his glasses. He had a lot of reading to do. In the depths of space, ancient automated systems registered the achievement and updated their databases. For the first time in eons, someone had passed the real test, understanding that true strength came not from what you could force the universe to do, but from what you could inspire it to share. The galaxy had a new apex, and his name was Marcus Chen, formerly humanity's weakest link, now their greatest triumph.